Hello, hi, and welcome to Empathic Fire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be mid-May messages for Scorpio. What's going on, Scorpio? How you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Oh, man. Mid-May. This year is just flying by, guys. So, yeah, that's my greeting. That's all I got for you today. All right, Scorpio. I've shuffled off camera. That's your main spread there. What we're going to do now is we're going to shuffle for your outcome and your overall energy. Once all the cards are out and they're lying face up on the table, that's when the reading begins. You can look down in the description box below to see the timestamp if you want to jump ahead. Also down there is all the information you need if you want to get a personal reading with me. And like I've been saying for the past month and a half, if you've been thinking about it but you haven't done it, go ahead and book now, because come June, the price for that very in-depth reading is going to go up. So to save yourself some money, book a private session now. If not, I'll see you in June. All right, Scorpio, let's go ahead and get an outcome for you guys, okay? Please show me Scorpio's outcome in mid-May. Scorpio's outcome in mid-May 2019. Please show me. Okay, very good. And the bottom of the deck is the overall energy. Okay, we have a sidewinder position there. Let's see what's going on for you guys. How's this going to go? Yes, thank you. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and flip everything. Oh boy. Oh, and this one. All right, interesting. All right, let's get into it, Scorpio. Please show me Scorpio's prominent energy in mid-May. Please show me Scorpio's prominent energy in mid-May. Please show me. Okay, thank you. Well, that's nice. I guess we'll find out. All right, Scorpio, coming into this mid-May period, you come in with the Death card. So your very own energy, Major Arcana card for Scorpio. So here you are, doing your thing, right? Now, this particular Death card might be like a little weird for some people. Like, you know, this character looks a little gothic or emo or whatever exists now for those two cultures. So some of you might be in those scenes, you know, the gothic and or emo culture, or some alternative culture, like visually, you know, like this character here, you might have dyed hair, you might, in this case, walk around with like a bikini top underneath a very long overcoat, whatever, but there is this visual, or something, there we go, like something about you visually in many cases, but if not that, just energetically right now, is setting you apart from other people. Like it's making you look like or come off as if you're a part of like a subculture or a scene or some type of a specific group of people that often might indicate or make people feel you're some type of misfit or you're some type of outcast. Now, I don't know why this is significant. Maybe you're feeling like an outcast. Maybe you're feeling as if you're, you know, not fitting in with people. So there's that, like, you know, when I come into these readings, I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about. I just ask for the energies, I ask for the messages, and when I pick up the card, sometimes I talk about the art, or sometimes I talk about the feeling, but they really want me to, like, pay attention to the art here. Like this alternative looking person, or this person that feels alternative. If you look like Joe Schmo, plain Jane, you know, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, you know, that's not how you're supposed to use that, but you know what I mean. If you don't look different, you feel different. So there's this element of different that they want me to kind of highlight for you, Scorpio. And for many, I think that you're not struggling per se, but you're like vexed about it, or you're coming to terms with it, you know, however that applies to you guys. You're feeling fine about being different. I think you just have issue with other people having issue with you being different. Does that make sense? So you're being yourself. This is your card, like I said. So you're aligned in your own energy. Many of you, no matter what you look like, no matter what scene you belong to, no matter what culture or social groups you hang out with, you feel fine in your skin. You feel great. Like, I really don't think you feel out of place in that way for yourself, from your own perception. I think the issue is that other people are viewing you as different, as being, like I said, an outcast or a misfit or in some way off, and that is bothering you. So that is very important for some of you out there. Not all of you, of course, But some of you are like having this really like that sigh that I just did there, where it's like, you know, you can't change the circumstances, or you know, you can't really change the other people's perception of you. You just kind of have to accept it. But the irony there is like, you accept their perception of you being whatever it is. And the ironic thing is they don't accept you for who you are. Like, they're judging you, or they're like, wishing you were different, or trying to change you, trying to influence you to be different. And it's like, I just want to be accepted for who I am. That's a really important message for somebody. Now, the other part, of course, is the qualities of the death card, the qualities that are innate with this card, and that is change, transformation. Yeah, that's like the two biggest things, like, or the two words that I know I say most often when I talk about the death card, because death is ultimately a transformation of form, you know, of being a live, living thing, human, animal, whatever, to becoming a dead thing, right? That's a transformation process. You go from being animated to being not animated. You're breathing, you're thinking, you're looking, you're smelling, and all that stuff goes out the window, yeah? So that's what's going on here. Not to say you guys are dying. Don't take it literally like that. But whatever change and transformation you're going through is quite monumental. Okay? I feel many of you have been doing this for a minute, for a while. And it's coming about very slowly, because it's been something that you've had to take very good care of, okay? So, you know, in some of your cases, this is a change in your behavior, okay? And behaviors that could be, you know, like even something down to like a bad habit, like biting your nails, twirling your hair, clipping your toenails and not picking up the scraps, something like that, like something really, minuscule or not that hugely impactful. For others, the behavior is like very big. So like up to something like compulsions or addictions or impulses, avoidance. Some of you are avoidant of things and you're coming around to face things. So you know your story better than I do. It is a general reading, so I can't like pinpoint exactly your story. It runs the gamut with a general reading, okay? To something really, really mild to something really, really extreme. Regardless of where you fall, the change in behavior is very big. Things that you are used to doing, you're coming up to facing, sure. You know what I mean? You're about to face doing the opposite. Like, in a lot of cases, it's a total 180. Okay? In other cases, it's not. I'm feeling like in most cases, it's like a 180 or damn near close to a 180. Others of you, it's not as drastic. It's not as, night and day. But it really is, Scorpio, you guys are... And I don't know why, I'm trying... My logical brain is like, why was I talking about being comfortable in your skin and being who you are? But now I'm talking about change. I'm not sure that they intersect. That just might be me wanting, the person, not necessarily the reader, trying to intersect these two things, so they might not be related. Your physical appearance or, the culture and the scenes that you're a member of, or the social groups that you're a member of, and these monumental changes that you're going through, they might not be related. In other cases, they might be. Yeah, I'm like trying to, I feel it. Like my brain is like trying to say, are they related? And I'm like, no, that was segmented. Like energetically, it was segmented. But my brain, for some reason, is trying to connect them. And maybe that means something. Like maybe some of you are trying to, or people are trying to tell you the way that you are presenting in the world is somehow connected to the change in behavior that you're experiencing or that you're trying to enact in your life, something like that. So there's, part of my gift is channeling, where I just feel things or I say things and I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me innately, but maybe I don't know. Anything else with this? Because I think we've kind of exhausted the point. Right. So you look different, or you feel different or apart from, let's say, mainstream society, or maybe not even mainstream society. Maybe you live in a small town, or maybe you live in a tight-knit community and you just feel different from your community members, whatever. Your neighborhood. Everybody in your block, drives a Honda Civic and you drive a Dodge Ram or something like that. It's just you're set apart. That's part of the message. The other part is behaviorally something that or have been wanting to change, wanting to kind of transform in your life, but you've dragged your feet. You have dragged your feet to this point of change and transformation, Scorpio. You haven't run at this thing. You've really worked on it for a long time, or you've been avoidant of it, okay? Let's move on, because, yeah, I can't get much more out of it. It's really those two things I'm feeling. Now, yeah, okay, that makes sense, right? So here, interestingly, is the Chariot in reverse right next door. I'll show you this card up right soon. We become used to it. Chariot is the card of major arcana card associated with Cancer. So you might have a Cancer in your life who's significant, but you don't have to. But again, reverse. So I don't think this is another person. I think this is indicating, yeah. Like the Chariot is a travel card, or is a card that indicates movement and motion. It indicates that we're going from point A to point B, right? Again, what I just said before I put down your death card is avoidant. And that's very prominent for a good portion of you. Not all of you are running away. Not all of you are scapegoating or hiding under the covers and burying your head in the sand. But many of you are. And that's why I think this is here. Because again, the Chariot wants to move from point A to point B, wants to make progressive moves forward. And this card is indicating that something isn't complete back at point A. You haven't wrapped everything up back wherever you started. Or well, it's basically the same. Like for some of you, something needs to be wrapped up and then you can move on. And I don't know that that's necessarily attached to transformation. Could be attached to change, you know what I mean? But there's a group of you, you go back to point A, tie up some loose ends, clarify some things, and then you can move on. Others of you, you have to go back to point A and stay there. Whatever point A is, it doesn't have to be an actual physical location. Could be a relationship, could be a certain conversation with someone. It could be, something to do with your financial life or your career life. It doesn't have to be actually get up and move to point A. It doesn't mean that. Some of you have to go back to point A because that's where you're supposed to be, but you've been running away from point A. You've been resistant and, like I said before, avoidant of whatever is located at point A. Again, a conversation, a relationship, certain responsibilities and duties within your household or within your job. It could be something as minute as, you're slipping on your house chores, in a relationship, in if you live with roommates, whatever it is, you haven't been keeping up with the lawn work. Go take care of the lawn. You know what I mean? Or it can be something really major. But this Chariot in reverse is pulling you back. And I feel some of you don't want to hear that. You're like, fuck no, I don't want to go back. But I feel you kind of have to. Like, how, and I don't know much about it because I don't do it myself, but how, like, when people go hiking on trails or out in the woods or whatever, sometimes, you wrap a ribbon or string around a tree. You leave something like a marker for yourself in case you get lost down the path and you have to backtrack and you don't want to get lost any further. So there's this idea of you're lost in the woods. You've been pushing further and further and further into the woods previous to now, Scorpio. I think like this Chariot is talking about past, if not recent past. And you've been pushing so hard to move forward that you've lost your way. And in order to kind of get back to making progress, you have to backtrack first. Does that make sense? Like, I hope that makes sense to you guys, because I don't feel personally Like, the resistance is because you just don't want to. The resistance is because some of you think it's futile, or some of you think it's a waste of time, or some of you just are afraid or annoyed or angry with whatever is located at point A. Point B is still where you're going to end up, most of you. You know, some of you have to go back to point A and stay for a bit. But ultimately, I'm not saying go back to point A and never do anything else in your life again. Never make progress on any new paths. No. For the time being, you have to go back, get recalibrated with whatever exists at point A, clear things up, right? You know, go back, look over your game plan again, get focused again, something like that. Don't be afraid to do it again, and then move back out on that path, you know? So it's different for everybody, because some of you, this is like talking about having to deal with people, and you don't want to deal with people. You're afraid, you're angry at some people, some of you are sad, like you're sad about what happened between you and other people, and you're ashamed or embarrassed or guilty, some of you, okay? Others of you, it's sensitive, it's very sensitive. And in order to go back to whatever is at point A, or whoever is at point A, you'll have to explain things that you don't want to explain. And that's why you've been pushing further and further into the woods, to escape having to explain, to escape having to basically face the music. I'm telling you though, that's the way. That's the way. I'm telling you guys. Like, if it came upwards, if it came face up, if it came upright, it'd be like, yes, continue to go to point B, and then C and D, and so on and so forth. This in reverse, man, it's telling you, whatever change and transformation you're working on, whatever was going on here, is attached. It's parallel, right? So they're like of equal footing, of equal substance, right? Or they're somehow welded together, or enmeshed together, these two cards right now. Change and transformation will come when you go back. How many times do I have to tell you this? Like, they really want me to ram this in your head. You want to change, you want to make transformations, you want to progress forward, go back. That's, yeah. And I don't know, you know, and my energy feels like my body, I'm a little tense, but I'm also kind of nervous. There's a little anxiety here, right? I'm a little agitated as well. There's like a lot of layered feelings when I keep addressing go back, go back, go back. You know, it's just like, you know, but you don't want to. Or you want to, but you don't know how. Like, it's just a bunch of fuckery, really, these two cards together. It's not easy. You know, two major arcanas, those are heavy hitting energies, right? Trump cards in the tarot deck, right? So what I'm telling you, I'm saying it easily as a third party sitting out here, this objective person who has nothing to do with this reading, right? But I can feel, it's like, try your best. That's that. I mean, as an advice, that's all I can tell you. Try your best. When you're ready, you'll know. Don't go in, you know, don't try and force it. Like, don't listen to this message or any other message and say, okay, well, I'm just going to go do it and get it done. I'm just going to go talk to this person, or I'm just going to go back home and sort some things out, or I'm going to go back to my lawyer and say this, that, and the other. And it's just like, no, make sure you feel right with it, Scorpio, as right as you can feel. Because if you go in and your shit is off, like your approach or how you feel, you might go in there hostile, or you might go in there overly defensive. You know what I mean? Go in there as neutral as you can, as clean slate as you can when you go back. Assuming you go back at all. You don't have to. It's your life. You can do what you want. But I just feel the the top-notch advice between these two cards is to go back and redo something. Re-establish something. Reiterate something. Revitalize. It's just, I don't know. Whew. Okay, so we've talked a lot about both of these. Let's go ahead and move on. So, Wow, okay. So yes, yes, yes. You go back, then you can get to work. I'm not looking down. I'm like, first of all, the blinds are up, so I'm looking outside. And I don't have a great view out there. It's another house. It's kind of ugly to look at. But I was looking at that the entire time. But anyway. So what was I just saying? If you go back, then you can go forward. Once you revisit whatever is back at point A, you get this Two of Wands energy, right? Two of Wands, yeah. Two of Wands is about making decisions. It's about plotting your future, yeah? All the twos are about choice, right? All the twos are about, what should I do? This way, that way, the other way, blah, blah, blah. But the wands, given that they're prone to action, they're associated with action. They're associated with actual physical movement in the world, or intentions and plans that kind of stir or pull at your passion and pull at your heartstrings. Things, endeavors that really mean a lot to you, whether that's in business, family, love, whatever. You would be putting yourself in a position to move forward more smartly, right? More smartly, or smarter, I guess. Because, I mean, look at this person. She's in a lab. Why is this not focused? Is that not focused? Why won't you focus? What happened to you? Oh, this camera, I swear to God. Anyway, so this person's in a lab, right? Running an experiment, figuring shit out. And this idea, just to follow with the trope of like being a geek or a nerd or a brilliant scientist, this person is thoroughly understands the situation that they're involved in. The choices and the options that they have in front of them, the experiment, the hypothesis, all of the beakers and the microscope, everything. This person knows, right? So this is you. Nobody else is here, really. Maybe they'll be here in the Ten of Cups now that I look down at it. But nobody else is really here. This is still you. So after you go back, I feel you might learn something new, and or you just get a certain new set of priorities, or do you change your experiment? Do you change your plans? That's it. Okay. So remember that analogy I told you about going into the woods on a hike or whatever. You're leaving little breadcrumbs for yourself to find your way back to point A, to find your way out of the woods. Some of you didn't do that. Now you're lost in the woods. Others of you, you're going to follow your trail back to home base, right? When you get back there, you get a chance to change your ideas, to change your experiment, to change your intentions, right? Some of you have gone down a path and you're feeling unfulfilled down that path, that initial path. And a lot of you have just pressed forward, maybe out of stubbornness, maybe out of pride, maybe out of whatever reason. You just kept going. Others of you have now stopped on that path and you're turning it around and you're coming back to home base, coming back to point A. When you get there, you get a new chance, like a new roll of the dice. Like if we're playing a board game or something, it's like, take your turn again, roll again. Oh, you roll doubles, Monopoly, roll again, right? Like that's what I feel is another chance for you to make not a decision necessarily about what you initially decided, not necessarily that, but in some cases maybe you can have a do-over, right? But in other cases, it's not about a do-over. It's going to be, I've come back to the initial starting place. I learned something new. I bring in whatever experience I had while I was out there in the woods for however long. Then I'm talking with people who are back at home base. Maybe it's your parents. Maybe it's your coworkers or your business partners. Maybe it's your ex, whomever. You're learning something new. There's new information coming into the situation. There's new information and insight coming into your own, based on what you've gone through by yourself. New plan, new experiment, new decision between two things. Go left, go right, A or B, whatever. And there's a quiet excitement. Because the Two of Wands is very much future forward. It's very much like excited or excitable about the potential of what might come next. So that's there for some of you. Or not even some of you. The majority of you. But I don't think you're going to, like, you know, be chomping at the bit and, like, overly eager. If you are overly eager or if you are excited, you're going to keep it to yourself. But there is, like, this jazzed up. Who are you guys? The words they choose sometimes. I'm just like, jazzed up. Anyway, you're really fired up. Thank you. Fired up. But I think for the most part, you're going to keep that under your hat. You know what I mean? You're not going to just like burst in to the home base, be like, I'm back and I have so many new ideas and I'm so excited to embark on these new endeavors in my life. You're just going to be like, hey, what's up, guys? Inside you're, you know, so yes, revitalized, okay? Now, next to that, you have the Ten of Cups. So here we finally see, or at least I finally see, some people involved. Again, now that they're in the corners, right? Corners talk. Yes, corners talk. So maybe this is like home base. Like I said, some of you might actually go home, visit your hometown, visit your parents' house, go visit your old friends from high school, something like that. Some of you are choosing to reinvest in your family. Ooh, okay, come on. Or you're proposing that? Okay, that's very specific. So what I'm feeling for someone out there, one of you Scorpios might be in a separation from a partner, separation from your spouse and your children, something like that. You've been living alone in a hotel room or a one-bedroom apartment, something like that, for however long. There's just been this separation between one adult member of a family and the spouse and or, and or the children. There's just been a parting of ways, yeah? So some of you are having to go back and face the music regarding that very specific, very jilted, very chilly, icy, very difficult reunion of a family, or the prospect of renewing and reuniting with family, okay? I'm not feeling this is like some, we've been divorced for 10 years, let's get back together. That could be it, but I feel like this is like recent, like over the past few weeks or months. Like there was a separation for very valid reasons, and now that the dust has settled, now that everybody's, you know, counted to 10, nerves are no longer wrought and you know, tense. Now everybody can come and be sensible and talk things out. Hopefully for a reunion. At least you want that, or your ex-spouse or whatever wants that, or the children want that, whatever. There's a possibility. Now that's for whoever that is for. That's for whoever that's for. It's not obviously for everybody. If you're a single Pringle and you don't have kids, that's not for you. In other ways, this Ten of Cups talks about, you know, it does talk about a happily ever after, but, you know, again, in both cases, whether you have a family or not, we're talking potentiality. We're talking about what we, aka you, Scorpio, are hoping for, or someone close to you is hoping for, yeah? Whoever's close to this situation. I want things to be copacetic. I want things to be peaceful. I want things to be happy. I want things to be joyous and full of love and affection and just a beautiful, beautiful thing. But that sits between, in the two sort of straight or most direct paths, straight across here or straight down here, that sits across from or is attached to revitalized decision making. Let's go back to the drawing board here. Let's reevaluate what's going on, right? And it also sits above this incredible change, which is anchored in you. This change and transformation has nothing to do with anybody else but you, Scorpio. So whether you're the Scorpio that had to leave the situation in terms of the family, right? Whether you're sleeping on a hotel room or crashing on somebody's couch, right? Or you're the Scorpio who's at home holding it down with the kids, getting shit done while your ex or whomever is out you know, being kicked out of the house. In that group, it doesn't matter. The change has to be on you. If you got kicked out, if you were pushed out of the family dynamic because of whatever behaviors, because of whatever choices you made, you have to change, and you have to show not remorse, but like I said, you do have to show some type of difference between who you were then and who you are now. If you're the Scorpio back home, you might have to change in the sense of become more forgiving, or become more empathetic and sympathetic and understanding of somebody's circumstances. You might have to change, like, you know, they're giving me like the cheesy thing. You have to change your heart in some cases. That's for the family dynamic. For those not family, how's this? It's still like this idea of being happy with other people. Ooh, girl, pick it up. Thank you. Wow, that's deep. So some of you, like, not necessarily romantically, like, let's take that big umbrella and put it on the side. Scorpio, a lot of you have been having issue being happy with other people, period. Period. People. Humanity, maybe, on a grand scale, right? But people. This could be down to some type of mental illness or some type of emotional instability that you might have, or that you might be discovering that you have, or you might suspect that you have. But a lot of you have been not able to connect with other people. You've not been able to connect with other people. You've not been able to make substantial connections last. And this is frustrating you. Is that it? Going back to what I was saying in the very beginning when I touched that death card, where I was saying some of you feel fine in your skin. You feel fine with who you are as a person. Okay, Scorpio, I apologize for that. I was cut off because memory problems on my camera. And then while I was away, I had like a huge sneezing fit. And now I sound really congested. So that's kind of weird. What the hell does that mean? That's weird. And I don't have allergies or anything like that. So it's like really strange for me to just like have a sneezing fit. It was really, it's none of your bit. It's not to do with you. That's my life. I don't know what's going on. Anyway. So what was I saying? Oh, right. So remember in the very beginning when I said some of you are feeling comfortable in your own skin, but the discomfort comes because of other people's perceptions of you, or maybe even in this, now that I'm further along in the reading, I feel like maybe even their expectations of you, and there's a discrepancy there. And the Ten of Cups really is about contentment, emotional fulfillment, right? Happily ever after, right? Is it that, Scorpio, some of you might feel weird or ostracized or like a misfit, even though you're comfortable who you are, you're labeled as or considered a misfit, or looked at, and people kind of ostracize you or kind of put you in a category that's you know, like a social pariah almost. Is it because it's hard for you and or not your bag to really want close relationships? You know, are you someone, when you go to work, you're just there to work and you don't really socialize, and so people view that as odd, but you view that as totally okay, totally comfortable? I don't need friends, basically. And this is not a judgment. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to say you should be doing what other people want, or you do what you want. It's your life. But it feels like there's this critique upon you when it comes to how you connect with other people and find relationships with other people, whether that's family, coworkers, friends, lovers, it doesn't matter. And you feel fine with it, but other people are like, no, Scorpio, I don't like that you do it this way. I want you to do it that way. Or how come you do it that way? Some people might just be questioning you, and you're made uncomfortable by their questions, because for you it's very normal to just go to work and not speak to anybody and not socially interact in too much of a friendly way. You know, that's normal to you. You feel comfortable doing that, but other people are like, hey, Scorpio, come on over to the break room. We're going to wish Karen a happy birthday. you're like, I don't even know Karen. We work in totally different departments. I've seen her like once or twice in the elevator. Like, I really don't want to do that. You don't say all that. You might simply say, oh no, I'm okay. Or you might go, but stand in the back, and as soon as like the candles are blown out on the cake, you zip out of the room and you're back to your desk. Does that make sense? So like the way you make connections with other people, some people around you are like, that's really strange and I don't understand it. You feel fine, but there's that discrepancy is there. Like, that's how I'm feeling. That initial message connects with this reading. It might connect in other ways. It might not be so central on how you interact with other people. It might be an internal thing. You play along, you go and, you know, sing happy birthday, and you might even give Karen a damn gift, but on the inside, you might be hollow as a tree. You know, there might be an echo, you know, in your chest cavity somewhere when it comes to, does that make sense? So I don't know. That's very interesting. So anything else with the Ten of Cups? Let's see. So happy family and everything like that. And for those who don't like have a spouse and or children right now, I think this Two of Wands coming right next door is this idea of, if you do want the Ten of Cups, if you do want that happily ever after with a certain someone or at some point in your life, but you haven't been working towards it, or you have been lost in the woods, not able to find a viable partner, I think the goal will remain the same for this very like smaller group of Scorpios who are like, you know, I want to get married, or I want to find a partner that I could settle down with, and I've been out here and it's been dud after dud after dud. I think when you go back to the drawing board, maybe revisit a previous relationship in some cases. Like, I don't know if that's possible for all of you, but there is this idea of going back to the drawing board and kind of resetting the frame and then proceeding forward. And then, of course, again, moving towards that goal, meeting people, maybe again revisiting someone that you used to date or someone that you used to know, and you're like, under these different circumstances, the new information that you gain once you go back to the start is like, oh, you would make a good father after all. Let's get to know each other, Tom. Something like that. Okay? Now your outcome, this is such a long reading, so lucky you or unlucky you, I don't know. But it was very deep in the beginning. Anyway, Scorpio, your outcome is the Magician in reverse. I'll show you this card upright so you can become used to it. Okay, so secondary major arcana card for, oh my god, I'm blanking. Ruled by Mercury. Okay, so Gemini and Virgo. You might have one of those signs in your life of significance. You don't have to. Reverse though. I apologize for still being congested. That's really weird. Yes, okay. So I feel this is more related to what you've been doing, Scorpio, than not necessarily what you will do in the future. Although it could be for that. For some of you, you will continue with what you've been doing. And yeah, okay. But I feel for many of you, what you have experienced recently, very recently, past few weeks, maybe the past month or so, excuse me, has been this Magician in reverse energy where we have good intentions. We have intentions to move ourselves forward in positive ways, constructive ways, right? Most people have those intentions for themselves and they put in those efforts. For you, Scorpio, you've been experiencing a lot of goose eggs. You know what I mean? Like, the Magician in reverse for you is coming up as like not really winning, not really getting what you think you deserve or what you think you're due based on your intentions, based on your efforts. You're like, I should have gotten more out of this, or I should be here by now. And there's a harsh judgment behind this Magician card, a very harsh internal judgment that I think you're projecting onto yourself, or you're taking other people's feedback to heart, and you're feeling like, oh, I really should have had this. So there's like this wearing of, or this dawning of some type of, it could have worked out better, and feeling frustrated or disgruntled or dismayed that whatever you intended, whatever you were working on, whatever you've tried to obtain, whatever you've tried to change previous to now has not worked. Now, the reason I think this is coming up in the outcome is because I think, like I mentioned here in the beginning, you're not running back to point A, and you're not running full steam ahead into your change and your transformation. This has been like a damn root canal. This has been so long. This has been so painful, so distressing, so volatile in some cases. Like, it has been a fucking fight internally, maybe even externally for you, Scorpio, to get to this turning point. Okay? You're at a turning point. So I think that's why this is in the outcome for you, because it's not over yet. Excuse me. Some of you will not be convinced by watching this video, by watching anything else, by doing anything else. Some of you are just not going to be convinced that you are ready, that the time is right, that the conditions are right to go back and do anything. Some of you are not convinced that you want to change. Some of you are not feeling inspired. So you're going to struggle still to put forth effort and see it come up in your favor. And that's where we're getting, I think, residual Magician in reverse. Like, some of you are already kind of down on your knees, ready for change, or ready for your circumstances to just like have a turnaround, but you're not going to make, like, for some of you, it's not going to dawn on you, or it's not going to be kickstarted. It's not even going to get started until you're absolutely down, like flat on the ground, like flat on your back, flat on your belly, like screw the knees, drop your face into the mud. And I'm not telling you to do, like, I'm not saying this as a punishment. I'm not saying, like, there's, like, still this, I want it to work the way I've been doing it. And there's, like, you know, a stubbornness, really. It's not, what you've done so far has already given you this. So why would you continue to do it that way? Is kind of how I'm feeling. It's not a punishment. Did I say that? Was that to you? Something about glutton? Did I say that in this reading? I can't remember. But that's how it's feeling, like you're a glutton for this. I'm telling you, other people might have told you, you might be having your own intuitive hits, you might have logical reasoning and rationale behind you, but some of you are like really stubborn about this. And you would then be a glutton for your own punishment, or a glutton for your own, you know, producing of goose eggs, okay? So I think that will persist for a while. Maybe a week or two, maybe another month or two. God knows for how long. However long you can take it. Okay? But anything else with this card? Let's see. Oh God, that's gross. I'm sorry. This congestion is crazy. Making what? Excuse me, Scorpio. I apologize for the second half of the video. How gross I sound. I'm coughing all over. I'm apologizing. Oh my God. Anything else with this? Let me see. That's the thing. Like, I'm like sort of distracted from the energy right now. Like, this video is probably gonna get like not a lot of love. Anyway. I don't think I'm getting anything else here. I'm like waiting to catch something else out here, but I'm not really, like, the making, but making what? The makings? Oh. Okay, interesting. So they showed me, finally, because I was like making, and like I'm seeing the tray, like if you can see in your hand, like I'm seeing some type of tray, like something being created and presented, right? But they were showing me, like, I wish you guys could see what happens in my mind's eye. It's like, it's coming into frame, like as if it was like a movie or a documentary or something, like a how-to video. This tray comes in, but then the image is snipped. It's cut away. So behind that, there's this incompleteness, right? Something is or was in the makings, but then it was cut. And that cut keeps you here. Thank you. We fucking got there. God damn. Sorry for all the cursing, but I feel really relieved because I was not putting that card down. I was like, there has to be more than just, well, Scorpio, you're beating yourself up and you're glutton for your own pleasure. It had to be more than that. So you were in the process of making something, whether that be a physical object, whether that be, a plan in your business life, you were making a family, maybe some of you were planning a family, you were planning to be married, whatever. And it got cut short in some type of way. It was suddenly pull the plug, suddenly cut to black. And the making of whatever you were doing stopped. And it left you here. And it will leave you here if we don't go back and finish the film. Again, in my mind, it's like a film reel. And the film is just snipped. And it's just a blank screen. It's just a black screen in a movie theater. So go finish your film. For some of you, maybe you were working on a film project. Go finish it. You lost your funding? Find funding. You lost your actors? Recast. You lost your inspiration? Get it back some kind of way, okay? Until you do, fix, quote-unquote fix, or get back to whatever, yeah, that's okay. That makes sense. Thank you. Finally. You guys are going to have the longest mid-message, for sure. These are not meant to be this long, so lucky you or unlucky you. I don't know how you feel about it. All right, your overall energy for this mid-month period is the 2 of Coins, Scorpio. So that 2 again, right? Choices, choices, choices. But here's the slowdown, right? So I think as the overall, it's kind of giving you the backdrop of everything that we've discussed today, which has been you making this very slow choice, making this very slow weighing up of options, listing pros and cons, evaluating what you've done so far, what you can do upcoming, just like, one second. Oh, am I going to have a break after I'm done with your video? For God's sake, Scorpio, listen. And this is going to be so much fun for me to edit. Jeez. Anyway. All right, Scorpio. So, in the backdrop of everything that's been going on has been this slow decision-making process. I feel a lot of you have come up to a fork in the road or a crossroads of some type. Some of you have come up to a dead end, like a cul-de-sac, and you gotta, turn your car all the way around and head out the way you came in. There's this idea of you have been faced or tasked with, or reluctantly, like you have reluctance to making choices, to deciding between things, to deciding to change or reevaluate or rectify or reconsider and all this other kind of stuff. All right, and 2s, it's like the initial baby step to things, the 2s. Like the Ace is like the foundation, but the initial, like, let's put one foot out on the pavement, let's put the second foot out on the pavement. That's where the 2s are. So there's this starting. And with the 2 of Coins or the 2 of Pentacles as your overall, this starting has taken forever. This finally making plans has taken forever. It's not a knock. It's not a judgment. It's just the way it is. You've experienced that. You've lived through it. You might still have that in you. Because, the Death card is not quick. Death energy is not fast. A Chariot in reverse is totally slowed down. Is totally making a U-turn, right? You've got a 2, again with the 1, so that is slower energy. It's considerably faster than the 2 of Coins since it's wands. But it is still that initial stepping out. And the 10, I think, is more of a goal or a larger concept or some theme in your life, and has nothing to do with your progress or your ability to make progress. I don't think like the 10 is going to speed you up or anything like that. So there's a lot here that shows me you've been slowly coming to whatever point you are soon to be arriving at. Some of you, when you watch this, you will have arrived there. You kind of are just now getting into this energy. Others of you, you're still like dragging along, okay? And that's okay, buddies. That's okay. I hope that makes sense to you guys. This has been such a jilted intercept. Like, I feel things coming every which way at me, and then I had to take a break. So this was like an interesting channeling for me for you. Like, I felt very clear, but at the same time very muffled and very fuzzy and very like discombobulated. It's a lot. And I think I said that earlier back here somewhere, something about layers of emotion. So I think that's what like happened here with my body. Okay, Scorpio, that's your reading for mid-May. This thing has gone on forever. So again, maybe you like that, maybe you don't, but that I do what comes out, yeah? So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, if you resonated with it at all, give me a like. If you want to leave a comment, let me know how specifically this resonated in your life. I love to read that stuff. You can also share this video across your social media platforms. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. I would appreciate it. Doing any and all of those things for me, Scorpio, keeps me afloat here in the YouTube world, keeps my content rolling through suggestions, okay? And it helps the channel grow. So if you want to help a girl out, that's totally cool. I would appreciate that. And if you don't want to do any of those things, I totally respect and appreciate that too. Well, I don't appreciate it, but I respect it. All right, Scorpio, I will be back sooner rather than later to do your June 2019 readings. By then, this congestion will be gone, I assume. And hopefully we won't have all these technical hiccups, okay? All right, Scorp, I thank you so much for watching up until this point. Take care.